Hey, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Shadow at Night, Friday, December 27th, 2024. Could there be an earlier vote of non-confidence than we thought? Interesting what happened today. John Williamson is the chair of the Public Accounts Committee at the House of Commons. He is a Conservative MP, and he tweeted something very interesting today. We're going to discuss this in just a second. And once again, this all hinges on what Jimmy Dollywall wants to do. Who's Jimmy Dollywall? Jagmeet Singh. What is he going to do? What is he going to instruct his MPs to do? This is very interesting because if all this works, and this is a Conservative plan, I'm sure they've been scheming this since before Christmas. If this works, we could have a new government in place by, how long does it take a new prime minister to take office, to take power? What is it, like a week, 2 weeks? So mid-February? Because once the vote of non-confidence happens, the House dissolves, the writ drops, the campaign goes on. I get not mid-February, you got to have the campaign first. So 28 to 35 days. So by the beginning of March, maybe the second week of March, we could have a brand new prime minister in Canada. Wouldn't that be awesome? Hey, remember Emily Duggan? She was on the show 3 or 4 months ago. And Emily lives in BC. She's in the middle part of BC there, the interior, as they call it. And she's been fighting the woke mafia, the rainbow mafia, for a couple of years now. She ran for school trustee. Sadly, she didn't win there in Nelson. But she still rallies and campaigns against these people at the risk of her own personal well-being and her family's, which is sad because these people are very vindictive and chilling, actually. But Emily is one of these people with a spine made of steel. I'm not sure because I texted her today and said, good job on the video. And she laughed and I laughed. And I don't know if she was at the same ski hill Justin Trudeau was at by happenstance or if she went there on purpose to make a point. Her whole family was with her, so I'm assuming that they were just there for a day of skiing. Anyway, here is Emily. And by the way, Emily says she was followed, her and her kids, whole family, was followed back to her car after she did this by the RCMP, about 3 or 4 of them. And we'll play this later on in the show, too, because it's too good to play just once. Watch this.
It's just... Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah. Hi.
Please get the fuck out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, man.
Yeah, you suck.
You know, I almost felt sorry for the guy, but then again, no, I didn't. Think of what his life must be like, this guy. He can't go anywhere without somebody, and he probably thinks, well, they're plants, they're paid for by the Conservatives. Polyev, it's Polyev doing it. No, these are people who are fed up with you, man. You know, the thing about Stephen Harper, I remember when it came to hanging out with the people, he was a hockey fan, still a hockey fan, probably, big hockey fan, wrote books about it. He would go to NHL games in Toronto or Montreal or Calgary or Winnipeg, wherever, and he would sit in the crowd with the people. Maybe his son on one side of him, maybe a security guy over here, but nobody ever did that to him. I know 3 of the guys who used to work security for Stephen Harper, and they said that never happened to Harper like it does to Trudeau on a daily, maybe even hourly basis, no matter where he is. And yet, he persists. It's amazing, this man's ego, the narcissism. Anyway, we're going to play that video a little bit later on. Can the Conservatives pull this off? We'll get to that in just a second. The Shadow at Night live stream, as always, is brought to you by CanadaNanoSilver.com.
Comparing Crest toothpaste to SilverCeuticals toothpaste. First, we're starting out with Crest. It's a classic. It's an original. It's what I've used most of my life. But that being said, it does have its problems. First off, the consistency is so weird and thick, and I get it's a paste, but it really doesn't spread that well. And I must also say that I'm not in love with the taste. I get toothpaste isn't supposed to taste good, but why shouldn't it? But that being said, it does get the job done. Next, we have Silver Suticals. They have 3 flavors, but today we're going with Bubbleberry. And already it smells so good. So I'm excited to see what this tastes like. The consistency is also a lot smoother, and I must say it spreads way nicer in your mouth.
This literally tastes like fruit bubblegum.
Yeah, this toothpaste was pretty good. I actually went in for seconds, and it's infused with nano silver, so it helps remineralize your teeth and keep them fresh throughout the day.
100% go with Silver Suticals.
And here's the results. What's your favorite toothpaste?
CanadaNanoSilver.com. Again, that is CanadaNanoSilver.com. Call today. Kevin and Anna are waiting for your call. 204-808-9292. CanadaNanoSilver.com. Retail locations all across the country. You can find them on the website. And if you would like to become a retailer of these awesome products, get a hold of Kevin and Anna through the contact tab at CanadaNanoSilver.com. Hello, Darlene, watching from Cartwright, Manitoba. Cartwright. You know, every time I hear the name Cartwright, I think of that Seinfeld episode, the Chinese restaurant. Cartwright for? Who's Cartwright? I'm Cartwright. You're not Cartwright. I know I'm not Cartwright. Show about nothing. That's where that episode is where that phrase was born. Cartwright, Manitoba. Hello, Darlene, watching on X. Sherry is watching on X in Winnipeg. Michael, hello. Thanks for everything you do for the show from Brampton, watching on Facebook. Debbie is watching in Oakbank. Hello, Rob. Hello, Wanda, Roseanne, Mireille, Mike. Are you guys watching on the big screen? I hope you're not watching on the... Go back to the small screen. The small screen, I work best on the small screen. Barb is watching in southern Manitoba. Hello, Dodie Ann, watching in New Brunswick. Brian is watching tonight. You are in Pilot Mound? Who's in Pilot Mound? I'm not in Pilot Mound. No, I made it back today, actually. Angela's watching in Toronto. Lisa's watching in Strathmore, Alberta. Carol is watching tonight. Chris is watching in northern New York State. Old McDonald is here with you from northern New York State. Wherever you're watching, whatever platform you're watching on, please, guys, get this out there. Like and share like your life depended on it. I want 2025 to be an awesome year. I want it to be an awesome year. What I'm hearing is coming in January is frightening. We'll get to that later on in the show. And then we're going to play a video in the extension tonight on the All Access that is frightening. It goes back to the 1990s. It's about what's going on the eastern seaboard of the United States right now. We're going to do a big segment on that tonight as well. All right, let's get into this whole thing about Trudeau and the non-confidence vote and all of that. So this is John Williamson. Once again, he is the chair of the Public Accounts Committee that sits in the House of Commons. And he says public accounts will meet starting January 7th. Remember, the House of Commons doesn't come back to sit until January 27th, but he's calling his committee in 3 weeks early to address a motion of non-confidence in the government. The committee's non-confidence report will be tabled in Parliament January 27th. That very day they come back and could be voted on by January 30th. The government no longer commands the confidence of Parliament. All right, so what could this mean? He says, now we're going to read the letter here. We should read the letter, get all the details. So here it is. Dear committee members, as chairman of the House of Commons Public Accounts Committee, I have scheduled committee meetings beginning January 7th for members to consider and vote on a motion of non-confidence in the Liberal government. Now, in this situation, obviously the Liberals are in a minority situation in the House of Commons, but also in committee. There are 9 members of committees. The Liberals have 4, and the rest of the parties together have 5. And again, the chair of this particular committee is a conservative, even though they're not supposed to act in a partisan fashion. Sometimes they do a little bit, at least the Liberal ones. Anyway, he goes on to say the foundational principle of our parliamentary and constitutional order is responsible government. This means the government continually maintains the confidence of Parliament to continue functioning. It's now clear that the Liberal government does not have the confidence of Parliament. Conservative, Bloc Québécois, NDP members representing a majority of MPs have all announced they will vote non-confidence in the Liberal government. This would force a federal election. Parliamentary committees are a microcosm of the House of Commons. Given the oversight mandate of the Public Accounts Committee, it is appropriate for its members to begin these non-confidence deliberations while Parliament is adjourned until late January. In the event Liberal members on the committee attempt to filibuster, and I'll show you what that is in just a second in case you're unfamiliar, and delay the passage of this non-confidence motion, I am prepared to schedule meetings through January every single day if I have to. That would be tiring to continually have to stand up and talk and interrupt for 3 straight weeks. Upon its passage, I will introduce the non-confidence report in the House of Commons on Monday, January 27th, the first day Parliament returns following its 6-week Christmas recess. This will ensure the committee's non-confidence matter can be debated and voted on by the House of Commons as early as Thursday, January 30th. Happy New Year, John Williamson, MP. All right. This is what happens in a committee that Mr. Williamson chairs. This is how he handles points of order.
I understand you're currently a Liberal donor,
I am.
right? And your last donation was in September of 2023.
Yes, I'm a long-time advocate of women's participation in politics of this country.
Okay,
and I
thank
do
you.
that on a
I didn't ask. I
multi-partisan
didn't ask
basis.
for an explanation.
point
I
of
asked
order,
for-
Chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think you know. I think you know what
Go-
is
go
the
ahead, Ms.
relevance of this line of questioning.
Well, okay, Ms.
Yeah,
Shannon,
what does
that's
it-
that.
yeah.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Shannon. That's not a quite of that's okay, Mr. Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get us out of here on time, or as close as possible. Now, Ms. Shannon, that is not a point of order.
Chair, if I can just say, it's a difference between when a witness volunteers information and when a witness is being particularly questioned about their political affiliation.
No, Ms. Shanahan. The point of this is to ask questions and to get answers. Mr. Brock, you have a minute and a half left.
Good try. Nice try, Ms. Shanahan, because witnesses, you don't understand. This particular member went on great length to highlight a certain allegiance that one of previous
Chair.
witnesses had to the Conservative
Chair,
Party of
I asked
Canada.
for-
Chair.
This is my time.
Chair. Point of order. Point of order,
Ms.
Chair.
Shanahan, I said nothing. Do not cut you off, certainly, when you were questioning a witness about donations and membership. Ms. Foster, there is certainly nothing wrong with being involved. I appreciate you answering the question. I would ask our members to hold off. In just under a minute and a half, you will be able to ask these witnesses all the questions you like.
Yeah. So that's going to happen starting on January 7th. The Liberals, all of the Liberals on this committee are backbenchers. We know that over half of the Liberal caucus, and there's 153 members, want Trudeau gone. Are they going to filibuster? Are they going to interrupt? Are they going to bring up points of order? Point of order, Chair. Are they going to keep doing that, or are they just going to let things go so they can take this non-confidence motion in committee and move it to the House of Commons for Monday, January 27th? And what about the NDP? Well, Jagmeet Singh has said that that's it. I think a couple of days before Christmas, he said, at the earliest opportunity, we are going to vote out the Liberals. They don't deserve another chance. Then he backtracked, walked it back a little bit. He was caught in the street by a couple of guys and filmed and was asked, so when is this non-confidence vote going to happen?
I guess the first day we have will be sometime, it depends on when we get our day, our opposition day. So it'll be sometime between we come back to government or when we come back to Parliament. January? Yeah, so January. Between January and it should be in February. The earliest it could be, depending on when we get our date, it could be between January and the latest could be March. It'll be sometime between that. So our date is scheduled, but sometimes they change it on us. It could be so end of January when we come back. It depends on when we get our slot. So we have one opposition day motion, and we're basically going to use it for this. Cheers.
Wait a minute. That to me sounds like he's waiting for his opposition day. And if the Conservatives want a vote of non-confidence before the NDP get there, the way it works is the Liberal government controls the schedule in the House of Commons, right? So they schedule the opposition days, of which there are 9. I think the Conservatives get 7 of them. The NDP gets 1 and the Bloc gets 1, and they can move their business on those days. And it's likely the NDP opposition day wouldn't happen until much after the Conservative opposition day. But with this situation that's unfolding right now, they wouldn't need the opposition day because the motion will already have passed committee, right? So what is Singh going to instruct his MPs who sit on this committee to do? Will they vote in favor of non-confidence with the Conservatives in the Bloc? Or will the one person, they have one person on this committee. So what will Singh instruct his MP sitting on this committee to do? Because that one vote sways the entire committee. Remember, 9 members, 4 Liberals. I think it's 4 Liberals, 3 Conservatives, 1 Bloc, 1 NDP. The Bloc will vote with the Conservatives. That's 4. We don't know what the Liberals are going to do. These are backbenchers. Maybe they're tired of all this nonsense that's going on with Trudeau and the government right now. Maybe they're scared of Trump coming in on January 21st with these tariffs. Maybe they're scared for their own riding. I mean, if those people, those Liberal MPs, go back to their ridings after having defended Trudeau to their people again, those people who have been saying, get him out, do you honestly think that they're going to vote for this person? That this person, this Liberal MP who votes in favor of the government will have a chance at winning his or her riding? I don't think so. And the same goes for the NDP as well. Jagmeet Singh has already said he will vote non-confidence at the earliest opportunity, not on his personal opposition day. So what do you think it's going to be? This is a very interesting situation. And in the meantime, one more time, here's Trudeau.
It's just...
Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah. Hi.
Please get the fuck out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, Mal.
Yeah, you suck.
I love it. I'm not sure if I retweeted that or shared it or whatever, reposted it today on X. I will after the show is over. I will. And if you don't follow me on X, go and follow me there. And then you can, unless you found it already, post it. Get that out there. It's probably already viral. It's hilarious. Did you know that the Canadian Rage Index, I didn't even know there was such a thing, but apparently there is. The Canadian Rage Index is at multi-year highs, and Donald Trump is topping the list of concerns. Is he going to take our country? There he is, dancing. You know, it's funny. All the Canadian conservatives love Trump until it's time to take over the country. And then, oh, wait a minute, he can't have our country. I want you guys to write down in the comments how you feel about that. All right? Would you mind being... I mean, look, we're so close to them. We go there all the time for whatever, shopping, entertainment, getaways, warmth in the winter. Some people live in Florida half the year. They're still Canadians, or Arizona, for that matter. Write down in the comments what you think about all of this. I mean, I do believe there is a sinister side to it. But then again, I don't know. I mean, it's all so very strange. As the hectic year wraps up, Canadians are reflecting on the year's big news stories with anger rather than positivity. The biggest and most rage-inducing news stories featured Donald Trump, including his election victory and his recent tariff threats. In an annual poll conducted by Pollara titled The Rage Index, 63% of Canadians said that they have negative feelings towards the news of 2024 compared to only 5% of Canadians who are feeling positive. This is a noticeable bump from the 58% of Canadians who said they were angry with the news from the year 2022. What about 2023? The overall rate, maybe they meant 2023. The overall rage index shows that 55% of Canadians indicated they're feeling rageful compared to the 50% of Canadians who agreed with this sentiment in 2022. Did they not have a rage index last year? Did it take the year off in 2023? The number one news story that Canadians paid attention to was the presidential election that occurred south of the border, in which the Republicans' Trump beat Vice President Kamala Harris, who, by the way, celebrates Kwanzaa, which is on right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Kwanzaa, what the hell is that? I actually thought it was something from the Middle East up until this morning. I didn't pay much attention to it, but it's not. It's a made-up holiday for people of color from the 60s. Anyway, he beat her in a landslide, winning nearly all of the swing states. Up for grabs overall, 86% of Canadians paid some level of attention to the election, while 50% of Canadians moderately follow the American election. 36% actively searching for news on the election. Only 12% of Canadians heard about the election in passing. Who are those people? Too busy. I'm too busy. The second most followed story was Trump's recent threat to impose a 25% tariff on us, on all Canadian goods entering the United States. 77% of Canadians paid some level of attention to this tariff story, 55% paying moderate attention to the story, 22% actively searching for news on the tariffs. Well, the total eclipse that covered parts of, oh yeah, that's right, that was this year. Parts of Canada and the war in Ukraine were third and fourth in popularity. The assassination attempt on Trump was fifth. And 70% of Canadians paid attention to that story, the assassination attempt. Trump being convicted of 34 felonies also received plenty of attention. 64% of Canadians indicated they followed the story. Those convictions are falling apart now. The two stories that made Canadians the angriest involved Trump. 31% of Canadians indicating Trump's victory made them the angriest, while 15% of Canadians indicated that Trump's 25% tariff threat made them the angriest. Only 8% of Canadians said that Trump winning the election was the story that made them happiest. You see, we still have so much work to do. We've got so much work ahead of us, you guys. Apparently, because, you know, Trump incited an insurrection. Right? January 6th, you've heard of that, right? Apparently, according to The Hill here, Congress has the power to block Trump from taking office, but lawmakers must act now. This is outrageous. Let me get rid of this here. The Constitution provides that an oath-breaking insurrectionist, he was never charged with an insurrection. So it's all BS, right? If he was charged at the very least, not convicted, not charged, just accused by media and Democrats. And that means nothing. And they think it gives them some kind of power to block. It's outrageous. This is the plain wording of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. No person shall hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. This disability can be removed by a 2/3 vote in each house, which they'll never get, by the way. And if they did, that would create a constitutional crisis in the United States because, like I said before, Trump's never been charged with this crime. Disqualification is based on insurrection against the Constitution and not the government. The evidence of Donald Trump engaging in such insurrection is overwhelming. Who wrote this crap? I thought The Hill was supposed to be neutral. Let's go down here and see who is responsible for this claptrap. Did I just say claptrap? My grandpa used to say claptrap. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just saying. Let's see here. Evan Davis was editor-in-chief of the Columbia Law Review, and David Schulte was editor-in-chief of the Yale Law Journal. Oh, I see. So we're talking about these Ivy League university types. I get it now. Both clerked for Justice Potter Stewart. Davis is a New York lawyer who served as president of the New York City Bar, and Schulte is a Chicago investment banker. Notice Chicago, New York, two of the reddest, make that bluest cities in the United States. I saw Viva Fry trying to explain the Canadian parliamentary system, the way our government works, to Charlie Kirk on Charlie Kirk's show last week. It was awful. Not Viva's explanation, but Charlie's complete lack of interest in it, even though he asked the question. Now, let's stay with Trump. He's been bringing up Wayne Gretzky lately. He brought Wayne Gretzky up in a tweet the other day. He brought up Bill Gates as well. We're going to get into that too. Wayne Gretzky's wife, Janet Jones, is that her name? Posts online after Trump urges hockey star to run for Canadian PM. Well, Trump doesn't know how our system works either, does he? Well, most in Trudeau camps have brushed aside Trump's comments. Mark Carney recently said the joke has gone too far. Carbon tax Carney. No sense of humor. Wayne Gretzky may not have shown any interest in Donald Trump's suggestion the Hall of Famer attempt to become the prime minister, but it appears his wife, Janet Gretzky, might feel differently. Ooh, there's a video I don't want to play. Could the commercial be any bigger? On Boxing Day, the actress turned entrepreneur and mother to their 5 children posted one of her husband's most iconic quotes over a generic hockey image on Instagram. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That came from Gretz's dad, actually. Janet didn't write anything else in her post, leading some to wonder about its significance. Is this a running for PM announcement? Wondered Instagram user Canadrian. In response, you mean like Gov of Canada? Asked another online user. Oh, now I know where those people are. Now I know where those people who don't pay attention to the news are. They're on Instagram. As reported by Fox and multiple other media outlets, Janet's now expired Instagram story shared and linked to Trump's Christmas Day Truth Social post about the pitch to her husband. In it, Trump said Gretzky had no interest in becoming Canada's head of state. Prime Minister is not Canada's head of state. That would be the king. Remember what I talked about last night? Our head of state, believe it or not, that's the king. That needs to change. Anyway, Trump said Gretzky had no interest in becoming Canada's head of state, soon to be known as the governor of Canada. But I think the people of Canada should start a draft Wayne Gretzky movement. It would be so much fun to watch, he said. And there's people in Canada who used to love Wayne Gretzky who now hate Wayne Gretzky because of this. Because these guys play golf together from time to time. Trump had just finished trolling Canada and Trudeau in an earlier post that again referred to him as governor of a potential 51st state. My nose is itchy, and I don't know why. Joining the American experiment, Trump said, would see Canadians enjoy a tax cut of 60% and immediate business growth, and they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. So there it is. What do you guys think? Earlier in the day, Trudeau appeared to subtly break his silence regarding his North American counterparts' repeated jabs. Some information about Canada for Americans he posted to X with a link to a 14-year-old video made by NBC prior to the 2010 Vancouver Olympics in which Tom Brokaw educates uninformed U.S. citizens about their neighbors to the north. All right, that's enough of that. Trump has shared a bizarre Truth Social post claiming Bill Gates has asked to come to Mar-a-Lago. I wonder what that's about. As tensions flare between Elon Musk and Trump's mega allies, President-elect Donald Trump posted what appeared to be a personal... Tensions are flaring between... I guess Elon maybe is talking a bit too much. He's talking a bit too much, and I think it's pissing him off. Shh, quiet, Elon. You're making us a target. We don't need to be a target. Anyway, Donald Trump posted what appeared to be a personal message to Musk on Truth Social, claiming that fellow billionaire Bill Gates asked to come to Mar-a-Lago. What are you going to talk about? Lab-grown meat? Vaccines? In an early morning post Friday, today, Trump suggested the Microsoft co-founder had asked to come to Mar-a-Lago. 78-year-old Republican encouraged him to visit. Where are you? When are you coming to the center of the universe? Mar-a-Lago. Bill Gates asked to come tonight. Now, this is Trump talking to Musk. We miss you. and X. New Year's Eve is going to be amazing, Trump wrote, and he signed it DJT. Not immediately clear whether Gates would visit Trump at his Florida estate. The Independent has reached out to a representative for Gates for comment. That seems kind of weird. I wonder if Trump's going to start trolling him too. Kevin O'Leary, better known as Mr. Wonderful, member of the Shark Tank panel and Dragon's Den panel. He's a multi-millionaire investor. He is Canadian. Here he is talking about that possible merger between our two countries.
When Trudeau was down there, he joked and said Canada should be the 51st state. He's also saying if they comply, they would have better trade deals and tax incentives with the United States. I don't know. Do you think this is even possible?
Well, there's 41 million Canadians, basically the population of California, sitting on the world's largest amounts of all resources, including the most important, energy and water. Canadians over the holidays, the last 2 days, have been talking about this. They want to hear more. And so, there's obviously a lot of issues, more details, but what this could be is the beginning of an economic union. Think about the power of combining the two economies, erasing the border between Canada and the United States, and putting all that resource up to the northern borders where China and Russia are knocking on the door. So secure that, give a common currency, figure out taxes across the board, get everything trading both ways, create a new, almost EU-like passport. I like this idea, and at least half of Canadians are interested. The problem is the government's collapsing in Canada right now. Nobody wants Trudeau to negotiate this deal. I don't want him doing it for me, so I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'll start the narrative. The 41 million Canadians, I think most of them would trust me on this deal.
I'm just trying to watch the comments as these clips are playing, and some of you are making jokes like Jeff, my buddy Jeff Stone from Tacit Investigations and Security, the hockey joke. I just put it up on the screen there. Other people, I don't trust Musk for a second. And, I don't trust him either. I saw a video clip a couple of weeks ago from Dr. Shiva. Is that the guy who was going to run as an independent for president? I can't remember his name. I've seen his name escapes me. You guys write it down in the comments. Help me out here. So is this the new world order, what we're looking at now? What the Americans voted for and what we're about to vote for? Is this actually us walking right in to the new world order of our own free will? I don't know. It's like I've been saying, you guys, there are 2, maybe 3 cabals in play here right now. They're all fighting with each other. This, the one that seems to be winning right now, is the cabal we have always known. Some people call this the Zionist cabal. The other cabal is the communist cabal. And then there's another cabal operating out of Africa, Northern Africa, and the Middle East. That is, those people are serious. They've got trillions of dollars from all that oil. Those kings over there, Saudi kings, woo. Do not discount those guys. They haven't shown their faces yet. We'll have to get Boyd Anderson on the air again sometime in the not too distant future. He can explain all of that to us again. And I'd love to get his take on all of this as well. So I was looking, I knew that Jagmeet Singh's name was Jimmy Dollywall, but then I went, is it Jimmy Dollywall? I can't remember. So I looked him up online, and the first thing that comes up is Wikipedia. Look what they showed me here. Hey, we need money again, right? So this is what we're up against, Wikipedia says. You deserve an explanation, so please don't skip this 1-minute read. It's Friday, December 27th. Our fundraiser will soon be over, but we're short of our goal. If you've lost count of how many times you've visited Wikipedia this year, we hope that means it's given you at least $2.75 of knowledge. If just 2% of our most loyal readers gave $2.75 today, we'd hit our goal in a few hours. I don't know what the goal is. Hundreds of millions? After nearly 25 years, Wikipedia is still the internet we were promised, blah, 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 blah. So they want our money. So where does the money go? You guys know that when you buy a membership on shadowdavis.com, or whether you e-transfer me a donation, or whether you do the Give, Send, Go thing, you know that that is coming right to me. And that helps me keep the show on the air. And by the way, we're all set. Thank you very much for all your donations over the past couple of weeks. That's going to keep the show going strong into 2025. Thank you again. So Stakeholder Consultant did a little bit of a deep dive on where Wikipedia donations go. Let's take a look at two big recipients. The Search Foundation received $250,000 of donor cash. Glancing at the website, you could assume it was about the admirable goal of minority representation in STEM. Hang on, I don't want to drag this down too far. So let's go ahead and look at this. $250,000 to provide a 2-year investment to the Search Foundation to support the expansion of their signature program, Vanguard STEM, which amplifies the voices of Black, Indigenous, women of color, non-binary people of color in STEM fields. Oh, well, we already know what's going on there, right? It's woke. They're giving your money to woke. But let's go down just a little bit further so we can go ahead and prove it. In the yellow, what do we see here? In describing how Vanguard STEM descended from counter spaces, we draw on speculative fiction to define a Vanguard STEM hyperspace as a fluid place-time that is born digital and enabled by social media, but materializes in the physical world for specific purposes. What? $250,000 for that? As Black women in STEM, we consider how our situated knowledge and scientific expertise inform our process. Outrageous. Have you made a donation to Wikipedia at all, ever? Because if you have, that's where your money is going. In these videos, these women discuss issues in science like objectivity, they're against it, and bias, they're in favor. And there's been one new video in the past year. What are they doing with your money? Also enjoying Wikipedia's largesse was Borealis Philanthropy. Borealis is yet another grant-giving organization. They're even more political and fully committed to driving America's cultural evolution. Wikimedia, that's the funding arm of Wikipedia, gave $250,000 to Borealis's Racial Equity in Journalism Fund. That money was then cascaded down to dozens of ideologically aligned news outlets across the United States. Racial Equity in Journalism Fund moves $4.9 million to 38 BIPOC organizations, including 11 new grantees. It is so nice to know where our money goes. Speaking of the BIPOCs, people of color, Kamala Harris. I grew up celebrating Kwanzaa, she says. Well, I've got the statement right here in her own words. Would you like to see it? I know you don't, but I'm going to play it anyway.
You know, my sister and I, we grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. Every year, our family and our extended family, we would gather around across multiple generations, and we tell stories. The kids would sit on the carpet, and the elders would sit in chairs, and we would light the candles, and of course, afterwards, have a beautiful meal. And of course, there was always the discussion of the 7 principles. And my favorite, I have to tell you, was always the one about self-determination, Kujichagulia. And, you know, essentially it's about be and do. Be.
All right, that's enough. We don't have to listen to her anymore. I just wanted to give you guys an idea about Kwanzaa, because I'm sure you've heard the words before, the word Kwanzaa. I celebrate Kwanzaa. All right, well, happy Kwanzaa then, whatever. I thought it was something from the Middle East, something from the Quran, to be completely honest. I know that's dumb. It's ignorant. I didn't ever look into it because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care. If they want to celebrate it, great, whatever. But it's not my bag. I'm sorry. But then I looked at the Twitter post that the original video was on. It comes from End Wokeness. And End Wokeness says, Kamala, I grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was invented, excuse me, in 1966 by Marxist professor Maulana Ron Karenga to undermine Christmas 2 years after Harris was born. 5 years later, he was jailed for kidnapping, torturing innocent women in California. Karenga also founded the United Slaves Organization, a violent black nationalist organization with ties to the FBI. How can you celebrate the creation of a beast like that? Good Lord, if we did it, it would be the end of us. The media, all these BIPOCs, they'd be all over us. On the third day of Kwanzaa, read my debunking of an ill-conceived holiday. This is an opinion piece from NJ.com. Around this time of year, various journalists run sanitized versions of the creation myth of Kwanzaa. They report that it has roots in African culture and overlook the fact that founder Maulana Ron Karenga has a past that discredits both him and his made-up holiday. So it was interesting to see this article in which the writer notes that Kwanzaa is even less popular than Festivus, that holiday made up for the Seinfeld show. That's 2 Seinfeld references tonight. One of my readers called me the other day to inform me the public schools in New Jersey aren't allowed to celebrate Christmas, but are Kwanzaa Christmas, but are celebrating Kwanzaa. Well, this is intriguing. Christmas celebrates the legacy of Christ, who, by all accounts, was a non-violent man who believed that people of all types could learn to live in peace. Kwanzaa celebrates the legacy of an extremely violent man from California who has dedicated his life to spreading dissension among the races. More on that later. First, let's deal with the question of why schools can propagate a belief in Kwanzaa but not Christmas, or Hanukkah, for that matter. For an answer, we called Ed Martone of the American Civil Liberties Union. Kwanzaa isn't a religious holiday, said Martone. It's a cultural holiday. It doesn't have the same restrictions as Hanukkah or Christmas. I'll grant there is a certain logic to that view. After all, once the government gets involved in religion, the potential conflicts among Catholics, Protestants, Jews, Muslims, and atheists are so complex that perhaps we're better off avoiding them altogether. But by that same logic, the public schools should not be pushing certain cultural practices, and the schools especially shouldn't be endorsing cultural practices created by a character with the beliefs in the background of Ron Karenga. It's not easy to get a hold of the facts about the background of the creator of Kwanzaa. In fact, it's nearly impossible. The history of the founder of Kwanzaa has disappeared into an Orwellian time loop. If you look up the name Ron Karenga on any of the many newspaper databases that are available these days, you'll read a glowing account of a deep-thinking philosopher who comes across as a sort of jolly Father Christmas for African Americans. You won't find any reference to murder or torture, yet murder was a specialty of United slaves. The paramilitary organization that Karenga ran in Los Angeles in the late 1960s. As for torture, Karenga took that more personally. The accounts of his personal role in a particularly sadistic episode of brutality have been largely lost to history. The episode seems to exist only on a few microfilmed pages of the LA Times. It took 2 days of research and phone calls to track them down. Here's an excerpt from an article headlined, "Woman Describes 2 Days of Torture" on the May 1971 trial of Karenga for torturing 2 dissident members of his group. Deborah Jones, who once was given the Swahili title of an African queen, said she and Gail Davis were whipped with an electrical cord and beaten with a karate baton after being ordered to remove their clothes. She testified that a hot soldering iron was placed in Miss Davis's mouth and placed against Miss Davis's face, and that one of her own big toes was tightened in a vise. Karenga, head of the United Slaves, also put detergent and running hoses in their mouths, she said. Karenga was convicted and served more than 3 years in state prison. This was not an isolated incident. In 1967, Karenga was accused of having his thugs beat up a student who asked him an impertinent question at a college forum. In 1969, United Slaves got involved in a struggle with the Black Panthers for control of the Black Studies program at UCLA. All involved carried guns on campus. The United Slaves guys were quicker on the draw. They killed 2 Panthers in a shootout at the student center. It would be nice to say that after Karenga got out of jail in 1975, he repented, saw the error of his ways, invented Kwanzaa as a means of atoning for his past. Nope. Karenga never atoned for his thuggery, probably because no one ever asked him to. And his sole concession to repentance was his 1975 conversion to Marxism. For him, this was considered to be a sign that he had moderated his views. Moderated. You're becoming a Marxist and you're... Karenga invented Kwanzaa at the height of his gang days in 1966, and he made it up not to bring peace among the races, but to divide. That's why he placed this alleged harvest festival in competition with Christmas, which he derided because of its ties to the hated capitalist system. It may be true that Kwanzaa has evolved into a ceremony that has importance to a great number of well-intentioned people who have no knowledge of its creator's questionable history. But Karenga himself continues to champion the holiday as an example of what he terms cultural nationalism. This is the view that Black people are a separate nation within a hostile country. During a visit to Newark in 1987, Karenga defined America as an insane, socially decaying society. We need a value system and a support system because the world is organized against your Africanism, he told Newark residents. Wow, this is crazy. Who wrote that? Paul Mulshine. That's a great piece. So that's what Kwanzaa is all about. It has nothing to do with fellowship or history or anything. It's about competing with Christmas. It's about creating division as opposed to creating togetherness. And it's sad. So we've been talking, our group here. By the way, like and share. Don't forget, you guys get it out to as many people as you possibly can. About what the next Black Swan event might be. And we talked about this next pandemic, right? That's what Karen Kingston brought to our attention a couple of weeks ago here on this show. That's that wackadoo doctor, professor from Texas. What's his name again? Peter Hotez. He actually gave us a date, January 21st. All of these viruses are going to be escaping simultaneously. Everybody run for cover, duck, hide, put a mask on. That'll save you. Don't worry, we got the vaccine all ready to go. Even though we don't know what the disease is. But what if it's something else? What if it's something else? What could it be? I want you to write down in the comments right now, and I'll wait. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. What you think the next Black Swan event will be. What are they going to do to disrupt Donald Trump? This is cabal versus cabal. And we're just kind of like the underlings here waiting for the giants to finish fighting. Cyber attack, Eddie says. War, Justin says. Dirty bomb, Natalie says. All very good guesses. Bird flu. Dirty bomb. Okay. That's fair. Cyber attack, that's fair. Power shutdown, that's fair. All of these suggestions are very good suggestions. But what about those things that are hovering on the eastern seaboard of the United States? And apparently they've been seen in Canada now, flying over the Toronto area. And they're not just in New Jersey now, they're in Massachusetts and New York and other states. What are those things? Are they drones? Why doesn't the government tell us what they are? Why doesn't the government shoot them down? People are freaking out about these things. And what gets me more than anything about these things is that hardly anybody cares about it. More people care about Justin Trudeau getting told to get the F out of BC by an awesome woman than they do about these things that are hovering around in the skies. And some people are saying, oh, just drones. It's technology. It's new technology. Is it American? Is it Iranian? Is it Russian? Is it Chinese? Where does it come from? Not to mention, I'm not sure if you've heard the reports about these things being able to make remarkable sharp turns at very, very high speeds. We're talking like 3,000 miles an hour. They can morph shape, apparently. Now, somebody posted, and they sent me this, but the image wasn't great. It was a video. Somebody was driving north from Winnipeg to Selkirk and saw something in the sky that looked kind of weird, but so far away, very difficult to make out. I was going to play it for you guys tonight. Then I thought, now you can't see it. What's the point? What are those things? So there's a guy called Philip Schneider, and you really have to look hard to find the video of his discussion from the 1990s. He died, I think, in 2007. This Philip Schneider guy. One of the bravest whistleblowers of the 20th century, with overwhelming evidence to confirm the Oklahoma City and the World Trade Center bombings, 9/11, were false flags. 9/11 World Trade Center bombings, the earlier bombing in 1993. This guy talks about the existence of 9 different species of alien who want us, 3 of which are benevolent, 6 of which are not. Now, you guys remember me talking about why. Always. Once you get to one level, you get that question answered. Yeah, but why? Then you go, why? And when we get to the very top of this whole thing, this cabal, what is the motivation? It's not money, because they've got all the money they'd ever need. Is it power? No, they've got that too. So what is it then? There's only 2 options as far as I'm concerned. And I have never, ever, I don't think anyway, said this out loud on the social media platforms. One is the satanic rituals. Many people believe that. The other is that these people are working for the aliens. According to Philip Schneider, there's been a deal in place between the USA and one group of these aliens since 1954. We're going to play 12 minutes worth, and the quality is terrible in this video. We're going to play 12 minutes worth of that discussion in the extension tonight on shadowdavis.com for all access members. But right now, here is some lame-ass coverage, and you're going to see some very clear pictures of these things flying all around in the footage I have for you in this clip. Let's have a look.
Tonight, an aerial mystery that's been described as unnerving is growing. The FBI now investigating multiple reports of unidentified drones flying over New Jersey, some as large as a small car. And today, a large drone seen here, also described as the size of a small vehicle, flying over a California event where Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in attendance.
More drones in the sky, Rockaway, New Jersey.
The New Jersey drones, initially spotted in the northern part of the state, now being reported further south. Sightings also now being reported in New York City. Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella calling on the FAA and FBI to expand their investigation.
People have seen a number of 15-foot or so wingspan drones hovering around. In this day and age, I just don't think that that's something you take lightly. If it is, nothing to be concerned about. Someone should come forward and say that.
Residents alarmed by the number of sightings.
One would go over, and then the next one would come, and then the next one, and the next one. So it wasn't like there would be 20 coming at one time.
Jonathan Lace, a pilot himself, shot this shocking video overnight of multiple car-sized drones near the Essex County, New Jersey airport. So concerned by what he saw, he contacted the FAA.
What's been probably the most alarming thing to you? As a pilot, I can tell you that when you're about to land, the last thing you want to see is something hovering in front of you.
What is that? With many questions and few answers, residents and officials alike on high alert as the mystery in the sky deepens.
Former Governor Larry Hogan shot this video last night. These lights over his hometown in Davidsonville, just 25 miles from the nation's capital, as he pointed out. And then there's this.
I've never seen them. Wow, they just passed each other. Yeah, I've never seen them before.
New Jersey Senator Andy Kim shared this video of drones he shot yesterday. Federal authorities insist most of these sightings are actually legally manned aircraft. But Senator Kim says he checked a flight tracker app while capturing this video and that the devices he was capturing were not on it. The sightings are happening near LaGuardia Airport, too. Officials say they received unconfirmed reports of drone activity over that busy airport. As for numbers, the FBI says it's received more than 3,000 tips from the public about drone sightings going back to November 18th, all over New Jersey. Since then, there's been an average of 92 sightings per night and expanding across half a dozen states. In a joint statement, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security said, quote, "We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat, or that they have a foreign nexus."
Welcome back. As unexplained drones leave millions on edge across the country, one former defense official recently issued this warning about the government's secrecy around UFOs.
Excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. If we approach the UAP topic in the same way as we as Americans have met other challenges, we can restore our faith in our government institutions. I believe that we as Americans can handle the truth, and I also believe the world deserves the truth.
Look, I want to believe there's some other form of life out there just like the rest of us. And I do have a real curiosity about what's up on our stars, but I'm also pragmatic about it and realistic. And to say there's some alleged secret government group that for decades has been covering up evidence of aliens and hiding UFOs in their possession seems a little far-fetched to me. Frankly, I don't think the current government is smart enough to do that.
Yeah. So look, this is something that I'm curious about. Obviously, some people are saying Blue Beam, it's Project Blue Beam. They've been planning this for years. Other people are saying, oh, it's real. I don't know. David Icke, who I think was recently banned from the Netherlands, he was bitching about that in a recent video I saw of him 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. They banned him. For some reason, there's not even a law for what he did, what they said he did anyway. He just said, they banned me. I can't go there. Like what? And they've banned him all across the EU as well, just because they don't like him, I suppose. This is total political persecution. But anyway, what is it? Like, is it a big scam? Is it at this point of the game? You know, I hope none of you are frightened about this, no matter what it is, even if it's real, even if it's aliens coming down to eat our adrenal gland. Like, what are we going to do? Right? But we've seen so much these past 4 years, 5 years almost, that nothing surprises us anymore. And I think we've built up such a level of bravery. And this is not bravado. Don't mistake it with bravado. This is bravery, man. This is like, okay, bring it. Let's see what you got. At this stage of the game, like, this is just like whatever. What gets me more than anything, like I said before, though, is how come more people aren't talking about this? Like the normies, the masses. There's these unidentified flying objects dominating the skies in the eastern seaboard of the United States, no matter what they are. They're enemy drones or they're aliens, whatever. People don't seem to care. They're more interested in the NFL game coming up this weekend. Like, what the heck? It's crazy. For years, people were going, oh, man, you believe in UFOs? Oh, yeah, you're crazy, man. And they wanted, I want to believe. It was the predominant subject for a very long time. And now here it is, and nobody cares. And maybe that's throwing a monkey wrench into their plan, too. Hey, nobody cares about our Project Blue Beam mass extinction event. They feed off our fear. If they actually feed off adrenaline, and if we're not providing them with that, maybe they'll go elsewhere. Maybe there's a planet somewhere else out there they can go and get that stuff from. That's it for the show tonight, you guys. Next week is a mystery to me still. Monday night could be interesting. It could be a round table of what's to come in 2025 with a bunch of people that you know, that you recognize. New Year's Eve, probably not on. New Year's Day, 50-50, definitely back Thursday and Friday night. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I thank you all. And I want to, well, I'm not even going to wish you a Happy New Year because I'll be back on Monday night for another Shadow at Night live stream. Until then, bye for now. I need to find my extra here. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. I'll see you later.